Coronavirus. U.S. to hold funding to World Health Organization, says Trump. U.S. President Donald Trump has said he is going to hold funding to the World Health Organization because it has failed in its basic duty in its response to the coronavirus outbreak. He accused the United Nations agency of mismanaging and covering up the spread of the virus after it emerged in China and said it must be held accountable. In response, the United Nations chief said it was not the time to cut funds to the World Health Organization. Mr. Trump has been under fire for his own handling of the pandemic. He has sought to deflect persistent criticism that he acted too slowly to stop the virus's spread by pointing to his decision in late January to place restrictions on travel from China. He has accused the World Trade Organization of having criticized that decision and of being biased towards China more generally. Follow live on coronavirus updates. I am directing my administration to halt funding while a review is conducted to assess the World Health Organization's role in severely mismanaging and covering up the spread of the coronavirus, Mr. Trump told a news conference at the White House on Tuesday. The U.S. is the global health body's largest single funder and gave it more than 400 million US dollars in 2019. A decision on whether the U.S. resumes funding will be made after the review, which Mr. Trump said would last 60 to 90 days. The World Health Organization is yet to directly respond, but United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres said that the international community should be uniting in solidarity to stop the virus. It is my belief that the World Health Organization must be supported, as it is absolutely critical towards efforts to win the war against COVID-19, he said. Germany's foreign minister tweeted that strengthening the underfunded World Health Organization was one of the best investments that could be made this time. So what is the World Trade? What is World Health Organization and who funds it? Founded in 1948 and based in Geneva, Switzerland, it is the United Nations agency responsible for global public health, has 194 member states and aims to promote health, keep the world safe and serve the vulnerable. Involved in vaccination campaigns, health emergencies, and supporting countries in primary care, funded by a combination of members' fees based on wealth and population and voluntary contributions. U.S. provided 15% of its 2018 to 2019 budget, with more than 400 million US dollars. China gave about $86 million in 2018 to 2019. United Kingdom gives most of any country apart from the US. The World Health Organization launched an appeal in March for 675 million US dollars to help fight the coronavirus pandemic and is reported to be planning a fresh appeal for the least $1 billion. Bill Gates, the Microsoft founder and philanthropist, said on Twitter, halting funding for the World Health Organization during a world health crisis is as dangerous as it sounds. Bill Gates said that halting funding for the World Health Organization during a world health crisis is as dangerous as it sounds. Their work is slowing the spread of COVID-19, and if that work is stopped, no other organization can replace them. The world needs at the World Health Organization now more than ever. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is the second largest funder of the World Health Organization. So what is Donald Trump's argument? With the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic, he had deep concerns whether America's generosity has been put to the best use possible. The United States President said, the U.S. has by far the highest number of coronavirus cases and deaths worldwide with more than 600,000 cases and 26,000 deaths. Mr. Trump accused the World Health Organization of having failed to adequately assess the outbreak when it first emerged in the city of Wuhan. Had the World Health Organization done its job to get medical experts into China to objectively assess the situation on the ground and to call out China's lack of transparency, the outbreak could have been contained at its source with very little death, he told reporters. This would have saved thousands of lives and avoided worldwide economic damage. Instead, the World Health Organization willingly took China's assurances to face value and defended the actions of the Chinese government. Chinese officials initially covered up the outbreak of the virus in Wuhan and punished whistleblowers who tried to raise the alarm. Beijing later imposed draconian restrictions, including quarantine zones, on the unprecedented scale, drawing effusive praise from the World Health Organization and its Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus. World Health Organization experts were only allowed to visit China and investigate the outbreak on 10 February, by which time the country had more than 40,000 cases. White House reporters point out, however, that Mr. Trump himself praised China's response to the outbreak and downplayed the danger of the virus at home long after the World Health Organization had declared a public health emergency of international concern. In one of the tweets of the President, Donald J. Trump, he says that China has been working very hard to contain the coronavirus. The United States greatly appreciates their efforts and transparency. It will all work out well. In particular, on behalf of the American people, I want to thank President Xi. Democrats accused him of trying to shift blame away from himself in an election year, but many Republicans in Congress praised his decision to cut funding. Why has the World Health Organization faced criticism? It is not the first time the World Health Organization's response to the outbreak has come under scrutiny. On 14 January, the organization tweeted that preliminary Chinese investigations had found no clear evidence of human-to-human transmission of the new virus. Mr. Trump and others have used the tweet to attack the World Health Organization for simply believing China, despite the evidence to the contrary. But about a week after the tweet on 22 January, the agency released a public statement saying that human-to-human transmission did appear to be taking place in Wuhan. At the end of January, on the same day, it declared a public health emergency. The World Health Organization said that the travel restrictions were not needed to stop the spread of COVID-19, advice that was eventually ignored by most countries, including by the Trump administration the next day. The man leading the fight against the coronavirus. In March, the United Nations agency was also accused of being unduly influenced by China after a senior official refused to discuss Taiwan's response to the outbreak. Meanwhile, some health experts also say that the World Health Organization's guidance on face masks has led to public confusion. Other frequently made criticisms of the World Health Organization more generally are that it is constrained by politics and a sprawling bureaucracy. It came under particular fire for its response to the 2014 to 2016 Ebola outbreak in West Africa and how long it took to declare a public health emergency, leading the organization to announce reforms in response. Trump targets China's growing influence. Analysis by Barbara Plitt-Usher, State Department correspondent. At one level, this move is about the coronavirus. Administration officials have been sharply accusing the World Health Organization of missteps in the handling of pandemic, saying it was biased towards China. They say the World Health Organization was too ready to support China's deceptive early claims about the virus and then didn't push hard enough against Beijing's attempts to cover up its misinformation. In particular, President Trump has latched onto the World Health Organization's criticism on his travel restrictions against China. But at another level, the move to defund the World Health Organization is part of a broader effort by the Trump administration to curtail China's growing global influence. The argument is that Chinese leadership in international organizations undermines the rules-based, accountable international system needed to prevent and fight a pandemic. But the Wall Street Journal reports that the decision also stems from an ongoing discussion on whether to link US aid dollars to the number of Americans working in the groups that received them.